Oh man, look, tell you what, if you went back in time to like 94 or whenever it was and told a 10-year-old ham that in the year 2023 we'd be getting a live-action movie featuring Beast Wars characters, I know exactly what he'd say. Masupalami yami coming running through the jungle gata. Look, I must admit, when I first saw the initial kind of, this is what you're gonna get pictures for this cool cat, I wasn't exactly blown away. But then I was lucky enough to peep him in a local collector store, and there was something about his physical presence that just could not be denied. So, that's how he's here, now. I'm a cheater! I'm gonna call myself Cheetor! What an idiot. I will say something that kinda, tugs me whiskers a little bit, is the fact that the box art has those really nice kind of blue tinges to the metally bits, and then in real life it's that flat grey. It does seem like from that initial trailer that they're just going to be a desaturated nightmare in the film, which is a shame when everyone else is so colourful and animals by their very nature are colourful, so it doesn't super make sense. I think they're probably, carrying over that Bayverse thing of if it's an old robot it doesn't have any colour, so you can't distinguish it from any of its surroundings. Which, I guess, is the point of the camouflage spots. We've come full circle. I gotta say, I think this is actually a pretty cool sculpt. Relatively, kibble-free, except for that bootay. I do think it would have been cool if this had it pivoted so that could fold up against his back and then the tail came down. That would have given him, less of that junk in the trunk. But it's not a deal breaker, by any means. And I do like all the surface detailing. If they just made it a bit more blue, you'd almost forgive how baby poo yellow the actual cheetah mode is. I've seen a few digi-bashes and stuff of people having made him look like, Cheetor or Transmetal Cheetor. I would love to see a repaint of this with a different head and just call it Transmetal. Just do it. No one will mind. It's not a big deal. That'd be the cat's pajamas! Shut up. Okay. I do think the toes are a little weird. Like that double nail almost looks like there should have been another piece pegged in and that's fallen off. But I don't think it is. I think his C-3PO boots just stop short. But I must admit, I was skeptical at first, but I do quite like the kind of cyber animal sort of look that they've gone for. And they're much more armoured and have much more surface covering than a lot of Bayverse sort of figures do, and characters do, where it looks like you could do an Indiana Jones and just stick an umbrella in their ankle. A beautiful little maximal tempo. I do like the head sculpt, but at this stage it's a little bit hard to tell if it's a mouth plate or if he's got, giant kind of Ron Perlman in Beauty and the Beast, giant top lip.
He comes from a secret place, far below the city streets.
Riding through this world, all alone. He is also, might I say, quite delightfully articulated. So you've got a nice expressive ball joint on that head, then the shoulders do a double uppy-outy kind of dealio, in a way that doesn't look too unnatural, I find. And if you wanted to, you could leave that down and you can just get the arm up inside that pauldron. So that's really quite cool. He's got then a bicep swivel. I had I'll be honest, expected him to have a deeper elbow, but 90 is good. And then we've got wrist swivel, which I also didn't actually expect. But I guess, I'm assuming this becomes a cheetah paw, but as it is now, it's a Wolverine claw. That rhymed, so it must be true.
Bazooka barrage!
He has a waist swivel, but you do need to lift up that cat flap if you're going to get, full use out of it. Then universal, but a cool kind of universal. I don't know, it's weird. I like it. I'm a fan. At the hips, I like it. I like it a lot. Swivel just above the knee, which I think sometimes I like more than a thigh swivel, because it doesn't cut up the lines as much. Somewhat disappointing knee bend, actually. If they just carved out a little bit more of this space here, you'd have a much, much bigger range of motion there. And for a character like Cheetor, I think that would have really helped. You get a little bit of up on the toe, but no down, and then he's got solid ankle tilts. They go both ways. The end result of which is him being able to throw some pretty good, pretty cool action-y shapes. By way of accessories, we get these cool speary things, which he can hold them individually for some dual wield action. They can peg together to be a cool long spear thing. I like how each spearhead is slightly different, and then to top it all off, they store nice and neatly on his back. So by way of a comparison, let's first peep him alongside the Bumblebee movie Studio Series Optimus. I wonder if they'll be this big. I mean, Optimus Primal feels big. It's hard to say for sure. And also, I feel like I'd be a little remiss in my duties if we didn't peep him alongside past Cheetors. You gotta admit, it does look a little bit like when all these were getting cooked up, somebody left the Rise of the Beast Cheetor in the oven a little bit too long and he got a little bit burned. But, you know, who knows? Maybe that just made him caramelized and all the more delicious. I guess that's a personal opinion. Do you like your Cheetor medium rare or well done? So this is the kind of beast transformation that I personally love. It's intuitive and fun enough that you find yourself wanting to convert him back and forth, or I guess transform him back and forth, often. But then also, it's just complex enough that he doesn't super feel like it's just a dude laying down. First, flip these arm guards to the back. Then we're going to come down to the legs, untab these shin pieces, fold them up onto the thighs. Fold the legs down, twist them around, and they're gonna peg in. Fold that back, fold that down, fold the toe up. Fold the shin back, break it in the middle, foot up. Fold the tail, then that little notch is gonna peg in there. Then we wanna pop open this chest at the front and the back. One head away, one head out, close it on up. While you're here, you wanna flick this piece all the way out so it's ready to go. Now what we've got to do to finish it off, we're going to get that notch there to sit on that tab. So fold these in. You're just going to give it the wiggledy-woo until it collapses the way you need it to. There we go. Then we can flick this piece down to cover some of that up. Just twist the arms. Fold up those feet. And you've got yourself a Cheetor. You know what? Once you get over the initial surprise of him being named Cheetor and turning into what is pretty obviously a leopard or a jaguar over, I don't know, a cheetah, it's actually not too bad a beast mode. Once you first get it there, it kind of feels like it's a bit static, but, you know, you get what you need out of the legs. Admittedly, the more you move it, the less transformed it becomes, but it is there. That tail can articulate at 2 points. I think one's mainly for transformation, but you could make him skunk it if you wanted to. Because of the way these shoulder pauldrons work, you actually do still get a little bit of back and forward out of the arm. Nothing out to the side, but you can still get your, you know, your bicep swivel, a bit of movement on the toes. It's a pretty visible hand, but I can forgive it, right? I find myself forgiving it. That head can twist. It's got a little bit of like side to side and up and down on it as well. Looking at this, I swear that should be a joint, but yeah, I don't know. It looks like that should be articulated, but on mine at least, it does not want to go anywhere. But it just goes to show you, ball jointed head. And then that mouth opens. So, whilst there have been more dynamic bass modes, as far as bass mode articulation goes, he's actually pretty good. It's like, you know, they're subtle shapes that he throws, but they're nuanced. They've got a little bit of variation to them. I like it. And for a beast mode comparison, let's get him in there with, you know, some of the pride of Cybertron. They came from another planet. Now they all look like big cats. They used to be cars, but not much by far. Now they all look like cats. Super robot life. It's the next stage of transforming. They were robots. Now they're all cats. Look, all in all, I gotta say, I have had a surprisingly good time with this figure. I'm not normally a Bayverse fan, as I'm sure many of you will know, but this guy's got me hyped, and not just for the film, but to get the rest of these Bayverse beasties as well. I am skeptical about whether or not this movie can possibly be any good. There was too many photos of Michael Bay on set, so I'm not expecting it to be, you know, a story-driven piece like Bumblebee was. But I feel like with the Bayverse films, if you go in expecting just to see some cool robot action, you're probably not going to be disappointed. If you expect, you know, any lore or anything that even remotely resembles what you know as Transformers, then you're bound to get your feelings hurt. But, you know, movie politics aside, this is just a good toy. I really like it. I definitely plan on picking up the rest of the beasts now. What do you all think? Who's got him already? Do you guys like him as much as I have? Are you gonna get him? Do you wish that there was blue on him? I wish there was blue on him.
You know, the universe works in mysterious ways, Michael.
I'm also kind of hoping that they do some kind of, you know, slight remold or something, and then maybe as part of the Speedier 500 he could come out as a trans metal Cheetor. That would just be phenomenal. I would buy that in a heartbeat. And that's pretty much a wrap on this little Speedy boy. I hope you've had as much fun as I have. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit me up in the comments below and let's get nerdy with it. Catch.